as requested, here is the baby. We didn't hit 1,000 subs, but since it's the last, close to the last, it's the last week of semester, so I thought, here he is. Felix, look in the camera. Felix, oh, see the camera? There you go. Yeah. He just wants to play with my keyboard. There we go. Alright, I'll give you back to Mom now. There we go. How is everybody? Mark says I prefer the cat. How hard-hearted of you, Mark.
Ouch.
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 That's a big ouch.
Okay, come on, Feels.
Yeah. There we go. Yep. Well. Not all of us can be, like, curmudgeonly. Curmudgeonly souls like Mark. Some of us do think babies are cute. Come at... Oh! No, that's okay. I won't pick a fight with Mark today. Last week, sure, but not this week. Oh, yes. Yeah, so about last week on Friday, I canceled the lecture. I thought it was going to be a postponement, but it just ended up being a cancellation, I think. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, the whole house was, like, down with quite a bad cold, actually. It was bad enough that, like, I couldn't speak very well, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to get through the lectures that I had today. That's how it was. So I sort of preemptively canned them rather than, subject all of you good people to having to listen to me with a frog in my throat for, like, a half hour before I give up. But yeah, so, yeah, sorry about that, but, I don't really think there's time left in the semester to, have us make up sessions, so, it is what it is, I guess. But, yeah! Anyway. Do we have any other announcements? Let's take a look, see if we have any announcements. So, number one, perhaps in order. So there was quite a bit of activity over the weekend. For the review session in BSB today, is it going to be recorded or do I need to rush over to campus after class? Can it be recorded if it's in person? I don't know if it can be. I don't know if we're set up for that. I'm going to be having one too, so maybe you can decide which one you prefer, mine or David's. But anyway, so the test 2 marks have been released at this point. The zero filtered class average was 80.6, and I think I speak for all of us when I say the sooner that T2 is a historical note in the register of all of our lives, the happier we'll all be. We also fixed some of the test cases post-fact, which as usual. I think, yeah, the average is now 84% rather than 80, so that's good. I would have one, but I'm too busy, says Mark. Yes. Well, such is the life of a third year. So, quick reminder about the date and time of the exam. Since y'all are asking about it, here we go. The exam starts at 9 a.m. December 21st, finishes 9 a.m. December 22nd. The only exception are those with SAS exceptions, or people who had writing conflicts, who basically, we figured out other things with them. You know who you are, and you get bonus time. The exam format is exactly the same as the tests. Yes. Use of Discord, even to contact a TA, is banned during the test period, and discussion of the exam may not start until December 23rd. So this is warning to all of you right now, for those of you who watch it anyway. Don't share your solutions to the exam while there are still people writing the exam, because you don't know if the person you're sharing your solution with might be a person who it's still possible for them to submit it. We will have zero tolerance for people who have duplicate answers on the exam. Yes. Good. So, questions. I'd like to hold the questions pertaining to the exam until tomorrow's class, because, it's going to be the review session anyways, and I'd like to get through the remainder of the SQL material and see where we are and maybe answer some questions about the exam after that, but I think we'd like to keep moving here. So, databases. One of the updates on Avenue said there would be a midterm bonus question during the exam period. So it's not a midterm bonus question, it is an extra credit. Reread the announcement. It's an extra credit assignment that will replace the grades of the questions that were compromised on T2. So that will be available, I'm hoping, starting Monday, and you'll have like a week to do it. It's not like an extra question on the exam. It's not supposed to be concurrent with the exam. In fact, it will be due before the exam. So you'll have like some time to work on it. So, let's see here. Where were we? I need my database. SQLite3, and it's videostore.db. There we go. Tables, movies, select star from movies, bing, bang, boom. There we go. 3 more days to apply to Delta Hacks. McMaster's Help Hackathon. Aha! Yeah, I should actually, Okay. I told the Delta Hacks guys I'd plug their thing, so, I'm gonna take a brief moment and plug Delta Hacks. Alright? So, some of you may not know what a hackathon is, but what a hackathon is, essentially, is a bunch of people all get together. Lately it's been virtually, but they used to like book conference halls and stuff like that for these things, and you just have like row upon row upon row of people all furiously typing. The Delta Hacks is one of the bigger hackathons in the area. You can correct me on it if I'm wrong on that, Mr. Freshly Squeezed. But the point of a hackathon is that it's kind of like an extracurricular project, but you get it done in like one weekend. which is extremely useful and valuable. You know, a lot of people ask me, okay, I like programming, but how does one go about getting a job programming? And the thing that I usually tell people is you want projects on your resume. Like, ideally, projects that have seen their way through to commercial release. But projects. So, an excellent project has been started during a hackathon. Mark could tell you about one that he did this semester, which is an interesting one as well. So, if you want to, so you should think of these hackathons as a resume booster. You should also think of them as an excellent chance to like sharpen your programming skills. They're just like all around really, really good things to participate in. So I highly recommend that anybody who's serious about programming in the class get involved with Delta Hacks. Photex! There we go. Thank you, Mark. So, some time ago, when I worked at Mohawk College, I was involved with the video game development club at Mohawk College, and we would have a hackathon specifically focused on video game design, which is called a game jam. Thank you. We would have a game jam in Hamilton, which was sort of like, we had about 50 people come to the last one, which was pretty good. But yeah, it's a super, super fun time. Be prepared to pull an all-nighter or bring a sleeping bag if it's in person, but if it's online, then you can do it in the place where you have a bed, so there you go. So, to what extent does CGPA affect our resume strength? If by CGPA you mean extracurricular projects of the type that we were talking about, my general feeling, and this, keep in mind I'm not in charge of hiring anyone, right? This is based on a combination of my personal experience and my sort of inferential knowledge. I feel that a good project, a solid project which is brought to market, even if it doesn't really make any money, a solid project that you bring to market is worth 1 to 2 years of full formal education in terms of its resume strength. Yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, Delta Hacks, go sign up. If you don't, you're a square. That's what I'm saying right now. So if you're okay living your life as a square, feel free to ignore the fact Delta Hacks is happening. Cumulative grade point average. Oh, a quick trick about grade point averages. Nobody will care about your grade point average 2 years after you graduate. I couldn't quantify it in terms of a grade point average. To some degree, it's more important than what your GPA is. To have some really good projects under your belt. But anyway. Jason is a square. Okay. Anyway, so SQL, relationships. So, suppose we want to track customers who rent a video, right? So we've talked about how to build up one table. Now we're going to talk about how to work with multiple tables. So, wish I could get rid of this bar too. Small icons. I mean, that helped a little bit. Okay. So, let's say we wanted to add a customer table. I'm not going to do the whole thing because we don't have a lot of time, but create table customers with a CID, which is an integer, and a primary key. Name, text, required, and address, which is text. There we go. So now if we take a look at our tables, we've got customers and movies. So let's just populate a little bit of data here. Let's create the second one actually first. So we'll create a new table for rentals. Rentals. So we'll have a CID and an MID, which is a, there it is. Also an integer, required. And we can have date rented, which is a date, and date due, which is also a date. You can tell when these slides were made. I needed an OBS scene for split screen to crop out all the stuff on his screen and increase real estate of relevant items. That's not a bad idea, Mark. That's not a bad idea at all. I could even have it set up between like two monitors. I could do like one monitor is one side of the split screen, the other side is the other side of the split screen. Anyway, we'll just keep going. So there we go. So we'll just add like a couple of items here just to give it something to chew on. So insert into customers values 101 Dennis Cook, I guess. I wonder if these are actual people. 1, 2, 3 Boardwalk, which is a Monopoly place. Doug Nickel. 456 Park Place. Yep. I needed a unique... there you go. So that'll tell... That's interesting, actually. So because I forgot to update 101, I failed to enter that into the database because the unique constraint failed. So because this is a primary key, it has to be unique. So I messed it up in an interesting way, hopefully. So 103, Randy Wolf, and Pacific Avenue. There we go. So if we select star from customers, there we go. Now let's just populate a little bit in this. So let's say insert into rentals values. So we'll say customer 103 has movie ID 104. And don't care forever. Customer 103 also has movie 5022. Oh. Oh, well that's interesting. I messed up the database. I messed it up so that it only takes... I accidentally made the customer ID field here a primary key, which means one customer can't rent more than one video. But it's stupid, but... Wow! Why do I capitalize things like integer and primary key? Sometimes I capitalize them because they're keywords. I'm trying to distinguish the keywords from like the identifiers that we've put in, but I don't always remember to do it. Yeah. Good. Anyway, so that should be enough. Select star from rentals. So there we go. So what we're looking to do here is we're looking to perform what's called an inner join, but we'll get into what that actually means. So if we do a select on the rentals table, we only get the customer ID, not the customer name, etc., and only the movie ID, but not the movie's name. Naively, we would have to do a extra select operation to look up each customer one at a time. But fortunately, SQL provides a way to do this all at once. So we can actually view stuff from more than one table at once using what's called an inner join operation. So if I, for example, if I say select star from rentals and customers where customers.cid is equal to rentals.cid, you'll see that I get the rentals table, that contents, then I get the customers table, I get that contents, but I only, I get where the customer ID on the rental is 102, it picks out the entry that has the corresponding customer ID from the customer's table and then slaps that together, which is kind of useful. So what it's actually doing here, it's generating every possibility and then filtering them based on the condition provided, which is, in this case, this field is equal to that field. So you can see, in this case, that's true. That's the origin of the first element. And in this case, that's true. So this is the second element. So that's how it works. It filters. It basically multiplies the tables by each other and then filters them for the ones where whatever matching condition you want is specified. So yeah, like you'll notice, I've got the first entry in the table plus the second entry in the first one, or the first entry in the second one, the second entry in the second one, the third entry in the second one. This gets worse if you also pull in the movies database. You can see in the movies database, I now have every single possible thing multiplied by every other single possible thing. So, if you want to narrow it down, which you probably do, you say, you put an additional condition on there where rentals dot MID is equal to movies dot ID. And in that case, because the movie ID 5022 does not exist in our list of movie IDs, we only have one valid entry, and that's it. Does required specify if the user needs to enter that data for that row? Yes. Basically, it's a condition that means that that entry can't be null. Yeah. Good. Cool. Good. So, the result is as if we had a single table with the rows from each table joined together when they match on the customer ID field. This is also called a join operation or an inner join. So there you go. And, yeah. And if you wanted to do a join between all three of them, as I showed you, you just tack on as many additional conditions as you'd want with an AND. So, let's talk about some general operations. We can update fields. Some of you were asking about this, because it seems kind of set in stone, right? We can update fields in one or more rows using the update command. In order to use the update command, you first have to specify which field should be changed. Next, you have to specify where the change should occur using another where condition. Where conditions work the same way regardless as to what the underlying operation is. So, if, for example, we wanted to set the genre and the genre to horror and the rating to R on Monsters Incorporated, we could do that. Let's view before, select star from movies. There we go. Monsters Incorporated. So update movies, set genre equal to horror, and rating equal to R, where title equals Monsters Incorporated. And you'll see those changes have been made. Ta-da! Now, you have to be very careful, though, because if you leave off the where condition, you will have a very serious effect on the database itself. So let's say we wanted to set rating R, but we forget to include the where condition. That sets the field of that sets the rating field of every single entry to R, which, depending on the size of the database, would be extremely difficult to undo, right? Especially if you happen to be working with a database and client that doesn't support undo. Maybe this one does. Yeah. Let's see. Yep, it's essentially, it looks like in order to have an undo function, you have to set up something like a subversion or a version control system on this thing. So, delete. If you want to delete a row, once again, you have to be careful that you're not deleting everything, because that's very easy. Why does it not also change the movie name to Monsters, Inc.? Because I didn't tell it to. In that particular... pretty sure SQLite only has transaction rollback. Okay, let's try it. Transaction rollback. Nope. That's not a valid command. So, why did only the ratings get changed? Because I only told the ratings to change, right? So I said update movies set rating equal to R. There's no reference in there to Monsters Incorporated, right? There is up here, but only because I specified that as the one entry to hit, right? So it only changes the one. It only changes the values that you specify. So, delete from movies where movie I think I just called it ID is equal to yeah, 103. Why not? Then if we view it, select star from movies. You can see it has been deleted. In SQLite, you type a series of 6 commands to create a transaction, then you gain access to the rollback command. It's far too difficult for the younglings. Yes, yeah, I see that. Like, obviously we're only doing basic commands here, right? You can delete an entire table, which I'm not going to demonstrate, but you can delete an entire table by saying drop table. So that's good. There's no undo. So be very careful. And so let's talk in more vague terms here. So think back to when we were doing SQL in Python, right? What if we want the user to be able to contribute input through Python to a query, right? One way that you might be able to do this is to simply add what you want to put in into the middle using string concatenation. Okay, I'll show you. So select ID minus 12 from movies. Ha! That's true. So you can also mutate. So notice that 102, like 90 is 102 minus 12. So that's cool. Yeah. So, in this particular example, if we wanted to like search for PG movies, we might prompt the user for input and then just splice that directly into the string, right? We would get a correct command. However, what if the person entered in something that wasn't expected? Like, for example, what if they entered in quotation marks? The resulting query that you would get would be select star from movies where rating is equal to parental guidance with the quotes here. Notice that guidance was in quotes because they're in sarcasm quotes, right? So really, parental is in quotes, guidance is considered a keyword, and then it's got an empty string after it because the quotes toggle whether or not something's in a string. This is not a valid SQL query, but it's even worse than that. What if we entered something into this query, like a valid term, and then or x is equal to x, and we just intentionally leave out the quotes that are being used inside of the string, or inside of the search string, right? Well, we end up with the query select star from movies where rating is equal to PG or x is equal to x. Since x is equal to x always evaluates to true, every row matches this query, so we get back the whole table. Perhaps when we did not intend to. So this is what you might call a security vulnerability. That's right, folks. We're talking about SQL injection attacks. So we're going to talk a little bit about the dark arts. So, when user input is mixed into a query string like this, applications become vulnerable to SQL injection attacks. Essentially, this occurs when the attacker injects their own SQL commands as a string that accidentally gets executed by the database. Essentially, if you're clever enough with SQL injection attacks, you can get a database to execute arbitrary code. If you delete from movie where rating is equal to R, would it delete all the movies with the rating R? Yes. Yes, it would. So, because SQL injection attacks essentially give a hacker, actually hackers, yes, it gives a hacker the ability to perform arbitrary commands, you can see more data than is intended. You can trick login checks to gain access to things without knowing the password. You can use data from other tables using the join command, although you have to know what the tables were named. And then you can even sometimes use, you can even modify or delete data. Where can you practice SQL injection attacks? I'm not going to help you develop your skills in the dark arts. This is so that you know to guard against this kind of thing. So, for example, what if we had delete from movies where x is equal to x injected in? So, notice one of the characters that you can include is a semicolon. So, if you include, sometimes you can include multiple complete SQL commands into the database. So this command here, delete from movies where x is equal to x, would delete everything in the table, which of course is a fairly destructive thing. So the comment character is also very useful in this. So sometimes it's not possible to end a query in a quote. So like 2 dashes, that's the comment character in SQL. So you can insert a comment character to destroy the rest of whatever the query was that you were supposed to be entering. Are there SQL practice problems so that you can prepare for the exam? I think there should be somewhere. Maybe Mark has a better idea of where they might be. So, text after the semicolon here is ignored. So, there are 2 methods when you're using Python to access SQL. One is execute, and the other is execute script. Execute script you should never, never, never use because it allows you to execute multiple commands at once. You should always, always, always use execute, not execute script, because execute script is vulnerable to SQL attacks in this manner. Yes. XKCD did a comic about this at one point. So, SQL injection attacks do actually happen. In 2012, Yahoo had nearly 500,000 login credentials stolen. Because, guess what usernames and passwords are often stored in, folks? That's right, it's SQL databases. If we take a look at Wikipedia, bop, they have, get out of here, you. Oh, I see. If you click that, it'll just bring you back to the top? No? Okay. So here's an incomplete list of successful SQL injection attacks. So you can see there are quite a few of them. And you can see it's like stuff like the United Nations and Johns Hopkins University, and yes, I believe one time, I think I heard about this in the news. There's like this dating website for people who are married, which is ridiculous. Like, that's a ridiculous concept, but, you know, welcome to the internet age, I suppose. And, you know, it's like, oh, you have an entire database of people who would probably pay money to not have it come out that they were on that website. I wonder if that's a prime target. Yeah, and, like, they had their database hacked and, lost the, personal information of, like, all kinds of people who were, you know, internet adulterers, and that sort of thing. Which, you know, just goes to show you that adultery might not be the greatest idea. You know, it's like you can be mad that your information was leaked, but it was really your fault in the first place. So there. So, in order to avoid SQL injection attacks, all you have to do is use this question mark thing that that execute has that we showed you earlier. The execute function has a large number of different subroutines which guard against SQL injection attacks. However, you have to use it properly. So using it properly means using the question mark and not using string composition or string concatenation. But yeah! So, I guess I'll answer any questions you may have about the exam then, because that's it! I don't think I can cover the entirety of machine learning in 8 minutes, so yeah, that'll be the long and the short of it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much thank you very much for paying attention. We've reached the end of the lectures. I hope that this semester has been reasonably entertaining for you. I'll also answer questions about SQL if you have any remaining ones. Why is ratings in a list? Because that's the form that's expected by it. Like, if you take a look at the way that we were using it previously, you'll see it's in a tuple. So, probably tuples and lists are interchangeable in this context, but yeah, it's just a tuple of all of the things that you want to insert at the question marks. But yeah. So we can safely assume that machine learning will not be on the exam, yes. Yes, you may assume that machine learning will not be on the exam. How many SQL questions will be on the exam? We never ask more than one, but, you know, sometimes we ask, you know, write a few queries, and, like, one SQL query isn't enough for an exam question, so we'd ask you to write, like, 4 or 5 of them, or something like that. But yeah. How much harder would you say the exam is compared to the midterms? I'd give it, like, maybe a 30% more hard, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Thank you for thank you for learning. Did I get... Oh, did I get that other class yet? Oh. That's a tricky question. I can't actually... Well... Let me just finish off some of these. Machine learning is not going to be on the exam. This course has probably been one of the most entertaining. Well, we aim to please. What would we be learning for machine learning? Basically, you'd just be learning that although machine learning is a very fancy and avant-garde term, all it really boils down to is various flavors of statistical analysis over large data sets. I have 2 questions regarding the midterm makeup assignment. 1, can it lower our grade? And 2, what were the compromised questions? So question 1, it cannot lower your grade. If you do more poorly on the extra credit assignment, it won't have any effect. We'll take the maximum of the 2 values. Number 2, what were the compromised questions? I believe it was the first question and the wizard question. Is it just linear algebra and gradient descent? It always has been. Yeah. Okay. So, it's not official yet, because I haven't gotten the contract in my hand. But I had a meeting with my supervisors, the department chair and the associate department chair, with respect to staffing for next semester. And I know I'm going to break everybody's hearts when I say this, but I got the strong impression that I'm not teaching 1xc3 next semester. Something may still happen. The decision has not been finalized, but I don't think... It really doesn't seem like it's going to be me teaching 1xc3 next semester. Which is a shame, because I was really looking forward to it. Like, honestly, I was. Yeah. Yeah, press F to pay respects in the chat. Why not? That's a good question, and it has to do with how things are staffed. I have no idea who would be picking up the position. So this is how... So, the department has been having a lot of problems filling the sessional positions they have, for whatever reason. They just, I guess, don't have a lot of applicants for next semester. Probably like a function of how it's really hard to find anybody to do any work these days. But so this is the situation. Whenever I get the sessional positions, I always apply to all of them, because I'm like, I pick up a fair number. Like, most people only teach 1 course, but I try to teach 2 or 3 each semester. I'm going to be teaching 2 next semester so I can finish my damn thesis. But, I kind of take the position, if I want that much work, I have to be flexible enough to take on whatever work they'll give me. So that's why I apply I blanket apply to all of the positions. So this is what happens. Imagine you have 2 applicants and 2 courses, right? Applicant A and B, course X and Y, right? Applicant A applies to X and Y. Applicant B only applies to X. The solution to that problem is applicant X gets applicant A gets Y and applicant B gets X. So someone who was choosier, I guess, with the positions that they applied to, got that course because, because of the that sort of having to solve that problem, like having to solve that math problem, like yeah. I just hope that I get it in the summer again, because it's fun. I like that course. It's fun to teach. But and I spent a lot of time over the summer putting the labs together for it, and yeah, I just hope that whoever gets selected for that position, I hope that they get in contact with me to get my course materials. So, yeah. But yeah, it looks like I'm going to be, at the moment, all signs are pointing to me teaching a second-year mechatronics course on embedded systems design. Are all courses available in the summer? No, but I believe the first-year block is. I'm pretty damn sure that 1xc3, minimally 1xc3 is going to be offered in the summer, because, the department was asking me when, how to arrange the time slots, if I had any input with respect to how the time slots should be arranged with it, because, last summer they screwed us over, and, they screwed us out of half of the in-class lab time, which is going to be even more important if it's not virtual. So, yeah, 1xc3, I think, definitely going to run during the summer, so long as, more than 5 people sign up for it, but yeah. I don't know about all courses, though. Certainly not, upper year courses tend not to be. Mostly it's 1MD, this course has been offered in the summer, for a long time, but they've been gradually expanding the other first-year comp sci ones. Would it ever be possible for comp sci students to take a mechatronics course in general? I don't believe so. I believe the one of the prerequisites for registration in mechatronics courses is registration in the mechatronics program. But you can try. I don't know. You can always apply and see. See if they'll stick you in it. Just don't be mad if they say no. What if you all took a... what if you all emailed the department? It's a scheduling thing, though. You can try, but... Yeah. You can try emailing the department, but I don't think that's going to change their mind unless one of you in the crowd here wants to take on teaching the the second year mechatronics course, and then I can have 1xc3, but or something like that. I think I might be very interested in embedded development. So, if you would like my advice, take C programming first. The basic and big prerequisite to programming for embedded systems is to first know how to program for C. That's why they take 2MP3 before they take 2TA4. But yeah, I always I always think it's fun to take courses with lab components. I think they're more restrictive with entry into courses that have lab components. But yeah, embedded system design is really easy to start up these days. All you have to do is purchase an Arduino and buy some bits off of DigiKey, and there you go. For Delta Hacks, can everyone who applies participate? I don't know. You'd have to ask Mr. Freshly Squeezed. What will the lab components be like in 1xc3? Well, I can tell you what I gave, what I designed for them. I don't know if a new person is teaching it. I don't know if they're going to use my old labs, but they're not that old. I just did them over the summer. So, like, for example, Lab 6, it's kind of like an assignment, but with a procedure, you know? Oh, shoot, I've got my next class. All right, I'll see you guys next time, eh? Take her easy.